Hello and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. My name is Juliana, and today's timeless pick a card reading is about your gifts and how you can share them with others. So, what are you gifted in? What are you talented at? What are you in the advanced program in school for, shall we say, if we're thinking of life as a school? And how can you share that knowledge, that little extra edge that you have in that area with others? How does that positively impact others? It's about being aware of both what you have and being appreciative and grateful for the things that you find easy or come naturally to you, and then also being aware of how you can bring that to others, that things like that don't always come naturally to everyone, and that's okay. And then you can actually bring some learning and some good energy to other people who might need that. And vice versa. So that's kind of what we're focusing on today. Before I get into the brief centering exercise that I always do before this, I just want to say if you would like what you see here, we do offer personal readings on sunflowerphilosophy.com. My mom and I are both readers, and then we are both also certified consulting hypnotists. So if you are interested in hypnosis, or my mom does human design, you can also check out the link in the description as well, sunflowerphilosophy.com. But now let's get into the brief centering exercise. So if you want to skip ahead and just get right to the group selection, and you don't want to do like a little meditation to get in touch with your intuition before the group selection, then you can go to the timestamps in the description and go wherever you want to go. But for those of you who are joining me, I ask that you are not driving or doing anything that requires your utmost attention, so that you can take a moment to relax and get centered. And if you are doing anything that requires your attention, I would ask that you skip this and come back another time. But now, if you are ready, please get yourself comfortable. Feel free to pause if you need to take a minute to get comfortable and settle in. And when you are comfortable, now that you are comfortable, I ask that you allow your eyes to close and bring your attention to your breathing. And just take a few deep breaths, and as you inhale, imagine that you're inhaling good stuff, whatever stuff that you feel like you need the most right now. And then as you exhale, imagine that you're just releasing anything you need to release and relaxing even deeper into the surface that you're resting upon, whatever that surface is, and just feel all that tension flow out of your body. And you can visualize that a few times and just continue to relax even deeper with each exhale. Excellent. And once you've done that a few times, then you can just let it go and return to your normal breathing. And with me now, set the intention to connect deeply with your inner wisdom, with your intuition, and connect deeply with the part of you that knows what messages are truly meant for you here today and which ones are not. And know that you will align with the group that is meant for you, and trust that you always know what you're about. You always know what's up. So you will automatically gravitate towards the group that is truly meant for you, the messages that are truly meant for you. You can be confident in yourself, in your choices, in your knowledge, and in your understanding of yourself. And in spirit of this particular reading, you also know that you are gifted. Though you may not always recognize your gifts, you are ready today to tap into that which comes naturally to you, comes easily to you, that which feels like it's an innate part of your spirit, of your soul. Sometimes you might overlook it, but when it's brought to your attention, you can recognize what you're really good at, what you bring to the table, what is truly a gift in this life for yourself, and how you can share that with others. And as you tap into the part of yourself that knows what you've got, that sees the value that you have, that sees how your cup is overflowing in so many ways, and how wonderful you are as a soul and spirit in this existence. You are also able to feel that gratitude that you're feeling for yourself, for others around you who bring the same things to you. And in this reading, you will be ready to accept compliments, accept truth when you hear it, and recognize truth when you hear it, and disregard anything that is not part of your truth. As you know, it is a message for someone else. You are confident, you are kind, generous, and loyal, all in your own ways. And those are just words that came through naturally to me right now, so there's definitely someone here who needed to hear that. And you have your own unique energy that you bring to this world. And this world is eternally grateful for that. So thank you for being here. And if you would like to remain in meditation for a bit longer, feel free to pause the video and come back when you're ready. But for those of you who are ready to move to the group selection, hang in there, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, so thank you for everyone who joined me for the brief centering exercise, and thank you for everyone who didn't. Either way, I'm happy that you're here, and let us just get into the group selection. As I mentioned, we are talking about things that you're gifted in, the ways that you're gifted in this life, and I'm thinking of it kind of like a school of life. So the 3 different items that you have to choose from here for the 3 different groups are actually school rings. It happened that I just picked them randomly out of this bowl of items I have off to the side here. And for the first 2 groups, I just happened to pick one ring and then another ring. So I was like, well, I think there's a 3rd ring in here. I'll pick that ring out too. Might as well have 3 rings. And then I realized that all of the rings that I had in this little bowl are school rings. So that's what made me connect the topic of the reading, which is the gifts that you have and how you can share them with others, with the idea of like a gifted and talented program in school, and like the idea of life as a school, and in what ways are you gifted, and what classes are you advanced in. So that's kind of what we're going with. So yeah, so you got 3 different rings to choose from, 3 different groups to choose from, and as always, use your intuition. You can pick all groups, one group, pick a group, and then choose a different one, whatever you want to do. Let me now show you what you have to choose from. So for group 1, we have this ring here with this green stone. It's a high school class ring. It's actually my mom's. For group 2 here, we have this silver ring. It's actually a college class ring. It's mine. And for group 3, we have this class ring here. It's a high school class ring. This is my high school class ring, with these little hearts on the side. And that is group 3. So take all the time you need, go down to the timestamps in the description of the pinned comment, choose your group, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi group 1, if you selected this ring here, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about the ways in which you are gifted and talented and how you can share those gifts with others. And as I mentioned, it's kind of like, oh, like if you're in the school of life, like what advanced classes are you taking? Like I could probably go in more with that theme, but I didn't think of it until I picked out the rings for the group selection. But anyway, we don't need to get into all that. Let's just get into your reading. These cards here are meant to determine your gifts, the ones that we're talking about today at least. I want you to know that you could be gifted in so many different ways. And it doesn't have to be limited to what we talk about today, but if today's message resonates with you, then these are definitely some of the ways that you're gifted. So without further ado, let's flip over your cards and get into it. And then we'll get into more messages with some tarot cards later on. But your gifts are... Let's see, we've got for your Astro Oracle cards, Solar Flares with Activate, number 17, and the Sun with Source, number 18, 17 and 18. Oh, interesting. Interesting, okay. Oh, and we have these 3 cards that got separated. It's fine. Okay, for your Hafiz card, we have 18 with Play. Wow, number 18 coming out a lot. The age 18 could be significant for you because that is a high school ring. So like maybe high school years were a significant time in your life, or were where you really honed these gifts, was where you came into your own, or it's just coming through as a significant age for you. And you have 3 cards here. We have number 20, We have six of spades, or 6 of swords, and we have number 2. Now 20 and 2 here, they correspond with... I'm debating how to do this, actually. Let me rearrange these. Let me move this. I want to kind of put it like this, I think. Yeah, that's how we want to do it. We're just going to go across in a line. Okay, 17, 18. We have 18 with play, 20, and 2. So these cards are interesting because they're technically from the tarot, like, card game. But that's not the same as, like, regular tarot cards. So, like, while these numbers on the trump cards might correspond with the same numbers that the major arcana have, they're not actually, like, the same cards, really. But we'll get into it. But the first thing that's coming through for me in terms of your gifts, it's definitely around optimism, your mindset on life, this sense of energy, of playfulness, and your ability to, I just heard, make a joke out of anything. So perhaps you're a very funny person. I would not be surprised with this energy. Actually, when I was preparing to do this reading, I was in, like, a very silly, goofy vibe, and I kept, like, saying, like, weird things and coming up with different songs and just singing them. And I do that sometimes. Like, sometimes I'm in that energy, but not all the time. And so I thought it was interesting that I was particularly in that energy today. And then for your group, I feel like that energy is coming through really strongly. This, like, playfulness, this, like, fun, optimistic, energetic, happy-go-lucky energy. And I feel like like you took a level in happiness. I don't know. That's just what came through. There's just, like, an optimistic, playful, happy, fun vibe. And I feel like with solar flares here as well, there's a generosity, but there's also a way in which you activate people, you inspire people. I feel like you're a font of inspiration. And I feel like this inspiration comes from a very innocent, fun place. Also, it's very dark in here. It's just, like, a very cloudy autumn day, so I hope it's not too dark, but it's kind of a nice vibe. But especially because the colors on these cards over here, it's just very bright. So much yellow, so much orange. Just, like, you have, like, a glow about you. Like, a fun, happy, radiant glow. That's what I'm feeling. With this card here, number 20, we've got, like, a bunch of gentlemen. So there's, like, 2 images, but I'm taking the one that came out upright, and we've got a bunch of, like, gentlemen playing cards. I don't know why these cards are like this. Like, they have 2 pictures, and it seems like usually there's one picture that denotes, like, a more working class group of people, and one that denotes, like, a higher class group of people. So you got the one that, like, denotes, like gentlemen gambling in a club, as opposed to, like, working class people playing, like, an outdoor game. Which is interesting because I feel like you have more of the latter vibes, but I almost feel like the circles that you run in, that's what it is. I feel like the circles that you run in might like tend towards the opposite of what you are, of who you are, or of where you come from, your origins. And so you bring, like, the energy from, like, your perspective on life to the groups of people that you are mostly around. So you might find that you are the most optimistic, happy-go-lucky, fun person in a group. Maybe you bring that lightness and that energy to situations that normally don't have that. I'm also getting the vibe of, like, someone who laughs at a funeral. Now I'm getting the song. What's it called? I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral, don't know what I mean. Something, well, you soon will. What is that song called? Oh my god, I'm completely blanking on it. I might link it if I remember. I might link it in, because there could be messages in that song for you. I have a feeling some of you will know what I'm talking about right away, but, like, for those of you who don't, I'll try to link the song. Yeah, but like someone who brings like fun energy to places you wouldn't normally find it is what I'm saying. With the Six of Swords here, that's also confirming to me like optimism, improving mindset, and I feel like this optimism and playfulness you have, I don't think that it's necessarily, it might come more naturally to you than other people, but I don't think it's because you've never experienced the opposite. I do feel like for you, this is something that is a choice. It's something that you have actively honed and have actively worked on in yourself. But it might also be something that I'm getting a sense of someone who maybe has always had that tendency and it hasn't always been nurtured or hasn't always been easy for them to maintain it, but they do. Like they've worked hard to rekindle, restart that part of themselves, to find that part of themselves again, to grow that part of themselves. That's what I get for a lot of people. Like you might not always feel like you're naturally this happy-go-lucky like person, but if you were inside anyone else's head, if you were inside anyone else's experience, you would understand how much more naturally this comes to you, and also how you come across to other people in this way, how you bring this energy to other people, even when you might not be feeling your absolute best. Because we also have the this 2 here, which would be, it would correspond with the High Priestess, but it is very different than vibes than the High Priestess, and it's more people playing. It's in this case, it looks like there's girls versus boys. Like this is the boys playing soldiers down here, and this is the girls playing jump rope and ball and everything. And it's interesting because there's a little bit more vibrancy and energy to the girls half the card than the boys half of the card, because like when they're playing soldiers, they might be playing, but you know, like they're standing at attention and everything. And when it comes to the girls, like there's much more they're more dynamic. There's different people doing different things. It's a little bit more chaotic and more colorful as well. And I feel like that is the energy that you bring, like a dynamism to a setting where there might not be much. Yeah. So the things that you're gifted at optimism, at keeping your head up, you're very energetic, very playful. You're good at play. I mean, we have the Hafiz card here that literally says play. So playful energy, like playfulness, you're gifted with playfulness. You're gifted with silly, fun, goofiness. That is actually an important skill. That is not frivolous. And there's something here that's coming through about like frivolity and feeling like, oh, maybe I'm just like silly, goofy. Like maybe that's not the way I should be. Maybe there's something wrong with that. Maybe I should be more serious. And it's like, no, I mean, it really does depend on the situation, I suppose. But I feel like there might be a tendency to devalue this kind of attitude. But you have to understand that that kind of energy is important to balance out other kinds of energies, and you do that. You can be that balance to other people's seriousness, and the fact that you can tap into this energy so easily is something that's not the case for a lot of people, and it's really cool that you do. There's also an extent to which I feel like you're not afraid to be the center of attention, or to get a party started, to initiate conversation, to initiate interesting conversation, fun conversation, silly conversation. You think outside the box. There's a lack of self-consciousness here. And I don't mean that necessarily you always feel that way, but I feel like to other people you come across as confident, as willing to speak your mind, and in a way that comes across as well-intentioned, no matter what it is that you're saying, right? So you might say things that come across a little bit bold, or like, oh wow, like I wouldn't have the courage to say that. But at the same time, the way that you do it, I feel like you go about it in a way that feels innocent, that feels like you genuinely are like wondering about something, or you genuinely want to know something. You're not trying to get a rise out of anyone, even if sometimes you say things that might. I feel like you have a very good way of coming across as genuine, like you really want to share your energy with other people. There's definitely an outgoing energy about this group, and you don't have to be the most extroverted person in the world, but I feel like I feel like in the circles that you run in, even if you're not the most extroverted person, you might be the most extroverted person in that group, if that makes sense. So let's learn more about how you can share this energy with other people in a way that is aligned with you and with the highest good of yourself and of all people. So how can you best share with others? 9 of coins. Wealth. Wealth. I was going to say self-worth, but wealth. Maybe for some of you, interesting. Like building your own personal wealth is somehow tangentially helpful to other people. And when I say personal wealth, I do mean personal wealth, because 9 of coins is not the 10 of coins. 9 of coins is usually to me about like your personal material goods. How can group 1 share their gifts with others? 7 of swords. Interesting. These all came out at once. That's too many cards. Put them back. If they need to come out again, they can come out again. That's also too many cards. How can group 1 share their gifts, share this energy with others in a way that is aligned? Judgment, 20. Oh, so we have the Judgment card twice, because even though I didn't read this really as the Judgment card, technically number 20 would be Judgment. So interesting. Okay. So many cards want to pop out. You have so much energy. I feel like you have... It's like... I also want to say, I feel like you have a lot going for you. Like, not just, playfulness and lightness and the energy you bring. Like, you have a lot going for you. And it's almost like naming the specifics is kind of a moot point, because it's going to be different for everyone, but whatever it is, it's just like a lot of different, like, it's kind of like anything you set your mind to, you can do. And I think that's because you just have this attitude of positivity. So it's just kind of a given for you. Like, whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. Like, you aren't really limited you're not someone who's necessarily going to say, oh, I can't do that. I'm not capable. Like, I don't think you believe yourself incapable. You have a lot of confidence. That's another thing. You've taken a level in confidence. Like, you are confident. And that's, you have to value that, because, well, you don't have to, but I would recommend valuing that, because damn, not everyone has that confidence. What else? How else can they share this with other people? 2 of swords. How can they share this with other people? 8 of cups. Okay. And one more card. How can group 1 share this with other people? Page of Wands reversed, and then this card fell out, 10 of coins. I'm gonna put them together. That's like a lot of cards. I don't think we need this many cards, but I also, again, like, you are a lot. You've got a lot going on. We might as well acknowledge that. I don't even know if I could fit all of these. Let's try. Sure. So we actually do have that 10 of coins coming out. You know what? And I thought it was gonna clarify the Page of Wands, but I'm gonna bookend it. Oh, and the 6 of swords on the bottom of the deck. Yeah. Oh my god, so much optimism here, so much going for you. What are you not gifted in? I feel like that's the question that I should be asking. What is group 1 not gifted in? Because you are someone who is gifted in a lot. And I do feel like it might seem like you're someone who has such a generous spirit and so much going for you that you might find it hard at times to properly share with other people, because you might unintentionally inspire jealousy in other people. You might feel like you shine too brightly sometimes. And there could be some timidness in terms of well, you're not a timid, this is not a timid energy, but if you're experiencing some timidness around sharing yourself, it's probably because other people have not always reacted so well to you just being like your amazing self. And a lot of times it's because of the shadows that they have. But there is a sense that being aware of and not catering to those shadows, that insecurities that people have, but being aware of them and holding them with compassion is going to be helpful for you in not dimming your light, but understanding how impersonal it is when someone else has a problem with it, if that makes sense. Not taking it personally. How can you share? Yeah, I feel like, how can you share your light? Well, with the 7 of Swords coming out, that's where I'm getting some of the potential tendency for you to hide yourself or to be a bit strategic about how and when you actually share yourself, how and when you actually shine. And it's interesting because I'm tempted to say, don't lie, like, don't mask and don't pretend to be something you're not, just to protect yourself. But there is something here about strategy. So there is a sense of, like, being strategic about how and when and where you shine, not in the sense that you're, like, overprotective of yourself or, like, trying to dim your light, but understanding that there may be times and circumstances where your energy is going to be more effective than others and more welcome than others, and being strategic about how you sort of, like, deploy it. Like, if you feel like it's a good time to go under the radar, and because that is an important skill as well, then I feel like allowing yourself to be overlooked at times will make the impact of your energy all the more potent when you actually choose to set it free. And I feel like for those of you who are listening to this, who are resonating with this message, that will make sense for you. Because I want to, like, make it clear, I'm not talking about, like, suppressing yourself or being like, oh, I'm not safe to be me, I shouldn't be me in all these circumstances. But it's more like it would make sense to you because you'd be like, you know what? Yes, like, I've been getting the vibe that, like, this is not the time and place for me. And, sometimes you just need to, like, be at a certain event or a certain function, and you just need to get in and get out, right? There's some purpose that you're there for. But the vibe's, like, kind of off. It's not really your vibe. It's like, don't waste your energy there. Like, yeah, it's kind of like you have so much energy, you have so much to give, and you want to give it. But there are some places and people that are not really meant for your energy, that you're not meant to, like, spend too much time on. Because I'm getting the sense of someone who, like, might spend so much time trying to, like, force your energy into a place that is just not going to welcome it, or is going to drain it more than it is going to, like, learn from it, accept it, and be interested in it. And so it could be, you could find yourself sometimes feeling drawn to people who don't feel lit up and who don't seem to enjoy your energy, who might take more from it because you're kind of like, well, like, everyone loves me, why don't you love me? That kind of thing. It's like, don't give into that. Instead, think of it as being strategic about who you're actually sharing yourself with, and where you're actually choosing to spend most of your time and energy, where you're actually putting the most out. Bring more strategy to that, because it will just make the positive impact of what you have to bring to the table that much more potent where it's meant to be. And that goes along with the judgment card, exercising good judgment about what is actually worthy of the amount that you have to give, and where it will actually do the most good. With the Two of Swords here, I actually feel like all these cards kind of say the same thing, like, together. The Seven of Swords, Judgment, Two of Swords, and Eight of Cups. It's like, and the Page of Wands reversed. It's like walking away from, or at least holding back from, throwing, like, I'm getting the sense of, like, maybe sometimes you feel like you try to force your energy. And if you're feeling like you have to force or push, then it's not the right time. Then it's not the right place. It's not the right person, right? Allow yourself to walk away from those situations, or allow yourself to just get in, get out. Give no more than you feel called to in that moment, and then move on. Because this is assuring you, like, and I'm getting a sense maybe a lot of you are, like I said, like, running in, like, higher profile circles than you're used to, or running in circles with people who have different backgrounds from you. Maybe I'm getting some people who have, like, a high income but worked your way there, you weren't born into it, so you're not used to that environment in the way that people who are born into it are. Someone who's in a high-paying career, where you might have to network a lot. Like networking, I'm getting even with like celebrities, minor to major celebrities, or just wealthy people who might have opportunities for you, or just any kinds of people who might have opportunities for you. And there's this sense that you know your worth and you know that you have a lot to bring. And so for the most part, you have no problem in these kinds of circles. But there could be a tendency to, again, sometimes run into people who don't outwardly express that they see your value or might want to take advantage of your value. People who don't always have your best interest at heart, or situations that just aren't either the right situation for you, or maybe sometimes you might like overextend, overgive when you don't have the energy to, because you're so used to having that energy, you're so used to putting it out there, you're so used to giving it out, that when you don't, you kind of start to think, oh wait, is something wrong? But really what it is maybe you just need to go and recharge, you know? It might not even be the situation you're in, it might just be where your energy's at, but there's nothing wrong with that. It just doesn't happen to you as often as it might happen to other people. But being strategic, again, about how you give your energy out and where you spend your energy and time, because like there might be a fear that you're going to miss out on some kind of connection, on some kind of like fun time, or like an important opportunity that if people don't see your face, they'll forget about you. Trust me, they won't. They won't. You can reel it in sometimes. You can spend some time by yourself. You can spend some time resting. You are not going to miss out on an important opportunity. And I feel like that's what I'm feeling here. It's like you are already out. You're someone, like I'm saying, like what are your gifts and how can you share them? I feel like you're someone who, if you're not, most of you here, I feel like you're to some degree consciously aware of your gifts, of the things that you have to give to the world. And there's like there is a sense of ego and pride in that you're like, yeah, I'm all that. And then there's also a sense of, and I do want to share that, and I enjoy sharing that, and I enjoy sharing that with other people and boosting other people up and helping other people with the knowledge and the skills and whatever I have. But for you, it's like you're aware of your gifts for the most part. You're aware of how great you are, at least to some extent. Maybe not fully. Maybe you don't see yourself fully as the wonderful gem that you are, but you know to an extent. But the thing is that I feel like it's like you don't need to be instructed in how to share more of that. It's more like you need to be instructed in like, or you would be advised to be a bit more choosy when it comes to how and where you share yourself. Just a bit, you know? I do feel like you have a lot of capacity for other people, for other energies, for social situations, or at least more than a lot of people that you know. And that is true. But that doesn't mean that you have to be overextending yourself all the time. And there might be an element of pride that sometimes prevents you from seeing where it's like, it's time for you to like reel it in, or like there is virtue and there is value in not being the center of attention and not putting yourself, not having to be seen at all times, not having to be on everyone's minds at all times in the front row, especially in a situation where it might actually be more beneficial to you and safer for you to take a step back, to observe quietly, to take a moment before you put yourself into a situation to like really look and say, does this feel right to me? You know, you don't have to cater to everyone just because they're in front of you. Assess the situation and say, is the situation in front of me valuable? Not how can I be valuable to the situation? You know, sometimes you have to look at it from the other way around. And most importantly, keep it up. Keep being playful, keep being activating to people, keep being inspiring, keep shining and keep playing and keep having fun and know that those are valuable, wonderful things. And again, like with the 9 of coins and the 10 of coins on either side here, it's like the 9 of coins is like your personal wealth and building that up. The 10 of coins is like when that personal wealth becomes something greater and you can share that with other people. And I feel like there's that balance between, and this can speak to literal physical wealth, and it can speak to your energy, it can speak to your personality, whatever it is. It's like remembering that taking the time to build that up for yourself, build that foundation, making sure that you have enough for yourself is your first priority. And when you do that, and then that's when it starts to build up, accumulate, and overflow. And when you have that overflow, that's when you give to others. That's what you give out. And again, it's like budgeting. It's like you're budgeting with your maybe literally with your finances, like being more strategic about budgeting your finances, budgeting your energy, budgeting your time, budgeting those valuable resources, so that you know what you actually have to give, and you know when it's time to take a step back and be like, no, I'm with me now. It's like really, yeah, like that 9 of coins and 10 of coins is like balancing when it's time for me time to focus on your own bag, and time for everyone else, time for the rest of the world, time to give it out, put it all out there, give it out to other people, be generous with it. Yeah, you're just learning that balance. And that's the best way that you can share with others, is by being very balanced in that way yourself. Trust me, okay? Because with this Page of Wands reversed here, I also get the sense of potential for burnout. If there's not a certain level of maturity with which you handle your energy and things like that. And when I say that, I'm not saying like you're immature or anything like that. I am saying that I feel like whatever you might have leveled up in some way recently in your life or career, it's going to require a bit of an adjustment, and it is going to require another step in your maturing process. So that's what this is about. You know, you're always growing, you're always maturing. You know, who you were yesterday didn't know certain things that you know today. And that's always the case. And so where you're at right now, there's a certain level of maturing that's going on in terms of how you budget your energy and time, because your life has changed, your priorities have changed, and the environments that you're in have changed, I do feel. And you want to account for that. And there's no message here about fear or anything. I do feel like you're very safe and protected, but it is also about learning to like, you already value yourself, but it's learning to value yourself in a bit of a different way. Learning that valuing yourself isn't just knowing that you have a lot and putting it out there always for people and just being like, yeah, look at me, let me share with you. It's also valuing yourself by saying, I know I have a lot to share, but I also recognize that now is not the time to share it. Or now I don't have like enough energy to share it, or this isn't the right situation to share it, or, you know what, I just don't feel the vibe. I just don't like these people. I just don't like the situation. And so I don't have to be here just because I'm, you know, usually am that person, right? And I feel like it is because a lot of you are spending your energy now in new places, different places. Or there's more being asked of you in certain areas, and you have to account for that. But you are very, very, you've got a lot going for you. You really do. And you are allowed to keep some of it to yourself. All right? So we're going to close out with just a few quote cards, because that's one of the things that I like to share is my art and my quote cards, because I made them and I love them for myself, and now I use them in my readings because I want to share them with other people. Now, granted, no one's asked me for them, but I hope you guys do enjoy them when you see them in readings. So group 1, what are just some closing messages for group 1 for this reading? Okay, well, we got a card from this half of the deck. Let's shuffle up the second half of the deck and get any other messages to close out for group 1. What closing messages do we have for group 1, please? What closing messages do we have for group 1? All right, we'll take that one. Okay, so we've got 2. So we got this one first. And it says, art makes nothing happen in a way that makes something happen. From How to Be Both by Ali Smith. This caps this off really nicely, because I do feel like this is, in a way, it's like art is like you and the way that you are and the way that you live your life. And it's kind of, this is almost to me saying in this context, like, you don't need to do anything specific in order to bring your gifts and energy to people. I do feel like you're someone who does a lot, and you want to be doing, and you want to do this and that and do for other people, do unto others, if you will. But this is saying that art makes nothing happen in a way that makes something happen. Like, just you being yourself, just you living your life and doing what you need to do for yourself, whether that's being out there and about at a party or being home and taking care of your own energy, that makes something happen. That has an impact. You have enough of an impact just by being you. You don't have to force, you don't have to push, and any situation where you feel like you do might not be the one for you. And just like, yeah, like you're like a work of art. Like if you just sat in a museum and people came and looked at you, you would still have an impact, you know what I mean? So think of it like that. And then we have this card here, which says, when you find out that there was never anything in the dark side to be afraid of, nothing is left but to love. From Alan Watts. That's interesting because we do have so much light here, right? We have solar flares, we have the sun, we have so much yellow on this play card, and we have all this light, like these people playing outside. So much light. And I feel like you are someone who likes to keep it light, who likes to bring your light and shine your light. But there is an element that, like, without darkness, there wouldn't be light. And so while I do feel like you like to keep things on the light side and you are very good at optimism, this is also a reminder not to shun the dark, and that's also, like, especially with the message of, like, I'm getting, like, again, like, someone who feels like they always need to be out there and need to be seen and need to be giving and doing and shining. And it's like, again, don't fear being alone. Don't fear not being seen. Don't fear, like, the shadows, right? So I do feel like for you, there is a balance that is being struck, and maybe you'll always be someone who's a bit more light than dark, but for you, it might behoove you to get more in touch with your dark side, get more in touch with the things that are a little bit less maybe obvious to you and in your personality, or things that are lurking more in the subconscious. You know, you're very sun energy, but the moon is also important as well. And so getting more in touch with your, like, this is very, like, masculine, like, anything that's opposite to you, you know, this is very masculine energy. So getting in touch with your more feminine side, or, you know, whatever it is that you feel like is very opposite to you, you come across as very strong energy. So there might be other energies, like if you're very strong in one direction, there might be a lot of energies that are seemingly in opposition to you. And so if you do find you have resistances to, like, to that kind of thing, taking some time to explore those a bit will bring a little bit more balance to your energy and might be really beneficial for you, you know? Like, everyone's balance of light and dark and all of the different things is going to look different, you know? It's not always going to be the same for everyone. And who you are as you are is beautiful. But yeah, anything that you're resisting, your dark side, anything like that, is also beautiful and is worth exploring. And also recognizing that in the world around you and in others, and seeing that in a different way. Again, you might feel less compelled to shine your energy so strongly to your own detriment if you were to understand that the darkness is there for a reason. And maybe things that you perceived as the darkness that you might have perceived as bad, maybe there's a different way to perceive it as well. I do feel like there's some wisdom coming to you from that shadow aspect that you might not be aware of yet. And that's the thing, right? Is you might be more gifted in, like, this light, this energy, this playfulness and whatnot. Other people are more gifted in the opposite. And the thing is, that's also important. And they're bringing something to the table as well. And so as much as they can learn from you, you can learn from them. And as much as, like, you can learn from the light, you can also learn from the dark. So there's that as well, that element of balance that is coming through. So take that as it resonates. And very interesting. So group 1, thank you so much for watching. That's all the messages I have for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to know how this resonated with you. And if you're interested in personal readings, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. Link is in the description, along with hypnosis and human design services. Thank you so much for watching again, and have a wonderful life. I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye. Hi group 2, if you selected this ring, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about how you are gifted and talented and how you can share those gifts and talents with other people. Just like if you were in the school of life, what are your advanced placement classes? You know, where are you really acing things? What are your strengths, and how can others learn from that and get value from that? Yeah, so we're just going to start by flipping over these cards, which are going to tell us about the gifts that we're talking about. And these don't have to be, by the way, your only gifts. Like, obviously, if this resonates, this is something that's being highlighted for you right now that you're strong in. But, like, you could have unlimited gifts. This is just something that's coming through for you right now. So don't limit yourself, but let's take a look. So we have, first for your Astro Oracle card, opposition with confrontation. And then we have this number 18 card. I think 18 is usually the moon, but this is like not a normal tarot deck. So, and we have 10 of spades or 10 of swords. Interesting. And then we have 3 Huppies cards. We have number 37 with Unleash Your Passion, number 6 with Receive Your Blessings, and number 27 with Embrace Friendship. Okay. Really interesting, because it's almost like I feel like we have like opposite energies on this side versus this side. Like the Hafiz cards are bringing a different energy than the other cards that we got. Which, having opposition being part of your reading, first of all, I want to say this is very different energy from group 1. So that's always interesting when that happens, because sometimes I will have like a couple groups that like sort of have similar energy, or like there's a theme happening, but this feels very different. But one thing I want to say, because you know what, it felt like if group 1 was very, like, there was a lot of light, maybe you also came from group 1, maybe that one resonated with you as well, I could see that, but it's almost like that was only one half of the story for you in that case. Like, group 1 was very about, like, light and on in some respect, and this group feels like it would be a group that, like, what you are gifted in is seeing 2 sides of the story, being someone who can inhabit multiple different identities, different ideas. You can explore seemingly opposing views. You can hold multiple distinct truths at the same time, things that seem opposing. Like, you can bring opposition together. I'm also getting, like, I was getting, like, debate team. Like, maybe you'd be on the debate team, like, because I'm getting someone who, and maybe you don't actually, like, literally like debate, but I am getting someone who could hold their own in a debate, who is very interested in exploring the different perspectives that people can have on different topics, and who would be very good at creating an argument for any case that came their way, even if they, like, morally wouldn't necessarily be on the side of, like, a certain issue. Like, they could come up with an argument for it. Or understand where someone else is coming from. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting from this group. Someone who might also be very gifted just with language, who might put an end to arguments, who might be someone who, like, often gets the last word. With this number 18 here, I'm trying to figure out what these people are doing in this. I feel like they're, like, harvesting grain or something, like, in this image. The one on the reverse is, like, people at a market. But these are the people who make this stuff. I'm getting, like, the vibe of someone who, like, you also, like, you might work behind the scenes to create a certain effect. Like you're someone who's good at doing the background work that makes something, it's very, like, this is very different to group 1 in some ways, almost opposite, but, like, yeah, someone who can do, like, the background work to make sure that someone else looks good or something else comes off well. Like, if you're on the debate team, maybe you're not the one who's actually doing the debate, but maybe you're, like, helping form the arguments. Like, maybe you do a lot of the research and things like that. Like, that's kind of what I am getting. And yeah, the debate team thing, by the way, is just a metaphor. You don't have to ever even wanted to be on a debate team. But at the same time, I feel like then we have, like, Unleash Your Passion, Receive Your Blessings, Embrace Friendship. Like, you're someone who's also very good at embracing your own passion. Like, you have things that you're passionate about, and you might speak passionately about them. You might be a bit outspoken in some ways, but again, like, it doesn't have to be like for some of you, you might be front and center, like someone who's liable to be front and center arguing for your beliefs. For others of you, like, you unleash that passion in maybe a different way. Maybe you do a bit more of things that are behind the scenes, but, like, regardless, you let your passion drive you. and you're in touch with what you're passionate about. And with receive your blessings and embrace friendship, I feel like you're very good at, like, I'm getting the sense of, like, someone who's very good at, again, like, since you're good at holding different views in your mind and understanding different perspectives and ending arguments, I also feel like you might be able to be friends with a lot of different people. Like, you see the blessings in all different kinds of personalities and all different kinds of perspectives, and you're able to be friends with people who, from all different walks of life. Like, you might be interested in all different perspectives. And if not friends, because I also am getting some loner vibes from some people here, but if not friends, at least you have, like, respect for a lot of different perspectives. That maybe a lot of people around you or in general just have trouble having. Like, they might not be able to hold those different perspectives as well as you can, as easily as you can. But I'm getting, like, a very sharp mind, a very calculating mind, someone who can really craft a good argument, someone who, again, can put an end to a discussion. Like, you get that last word, you have, like, it's like a mic drop kind of thing. And you might not even be the kind of person who's like I'm getting, like, either you're like if there's a debate going on, like, you come in and you end it. Like, you get the final word. You say the perspective that no one else thought of that was needed to actually, like, shut people up. Like, that's the kind of thing that I'm getting here. So yeah, I'm getting, like, someone who can hold opposing truths in their mind at once, someone who can have debates and have lively discussions with people, and or at least see different sides of different arguments and form different arguments for different seemingly opposing perspectives. I'm getting someone who is really sharp and quick-witted, who can be a good speaker either because, like, either is good at long-winded debate, that kind of thing, or will, like, get the last word in, like, come in with the closer, like, is good at, like, ending things and cutting things off and being like, we're done here. Like, I've said my piece and now we're done. Like, maybe you have, like, one word or one line that you come in with and, like, you end the discussion. And someone who has, like, a lot of passions that you let drive you, and a lot of, like, you're someone who, like, I'm getting, like this is someone who people might be tempted to see as cynical, but I almost feel like it's, like, just because you might be a bit, like, cutthroat in some ways, but again, able to see the blessings in all different kinds of perspectives and all different kinds of situations. Like, there is an underlying optimism to this perspective here, and in that way can embrace many different kinds of people. Like, that's what I'm getting from you, from what you're gifted at, who you just naturally kind of are. So with that being said, let's look at more of how you can share this gift, because not everyone is like this. These gifts with people. I feel like you already are sharing these gifts with people, though. That's the thing. Like, but how can you do this in a way that is most aligned for you and for all? Six of Cups, the Lovers. Oh my God, lots of sixes here. Six, 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 six. Lots of sixes. Sixes, tens, and nines. We've got a lot of those. And we've got an 8, 9, 10. No sevens, but lots of sixes. The Hanged Man. How can group 2 share the Devil? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm getting, like, real goth vibes from you. Like, alternative. You're not afraid to go against the grain. Whereas group 1 gave me more of the vibes of someone who likes to be center of attention and likes to be loved, you're giving someone who doesn't need to be loved, but you have an inherent belief in yourself, in your own worth, which allows you to, again, like, you don't need someone else to validate your views in order to hang with them. Yeah, and neither one is, like, more positive or negative than the other, because, like, group 1 had a lot of wonderful things going for them, so it's not like, oh, but it's interesting to see the opposition between the two energies that I was getting. What else for group 2? How can they share? 3 of Wands, and one more. Whoa. The Fool in reverse. Wait, upright or reverse? Okay. Brighter reverse. Yeah, we're going to leave that in reverse. Bottom of the deck, Page of Cups. Surprise. Okay. But I don't know if we're going to focus on the Page of Cups. We got a lot of other cards here. So how can you best share these gifts with others in a way that is, like, most aligned for you and all of them as well? Six of Cups and the Lovers. Okay, so Six of Cups and the Lovers both give me gentle energy. So there is potentially there's a recommendation to bring some more gentle, loving, kind energy to your energy, basically. Not in the sense, like, not complete, like, I don't want to, because I do get, like, a confrontational kind of vibe from you in a way. Like, I get someone who's not afraid to, like, have a discussion, have a conversation that might get heated. And again, like, there's value in that because you can, like, you're the kind of person who can do that and still be friends with someone and still get along with someone. And I feel like that is commendable and valuable. But I feel like there's almost something where, like, similar with group one, not in all situations, but in some situations, there's this encouragement to assess the situation and notice where some more gentleness and tact might be warranted. And where you're paying attention to when you're coming at a situation or a person with, like, a more gentle, loving energy, because they might need that. Six of Cups also, I'm thinking of like a child, like children, like thinking of someone who might not understand a certain perspective or way of thinking, as if, like, they are a small child learning. Maybe maybe you're someone who has trouble also engaging with children because there's a certain level of, like, impatience. Because you come across as someone who might be very intelligent and might not have as much patience for those who are behind you in some way. But there's this encouragement to bring more patience and gentleness to those situations where you find yourself with someone who is learning, and to see those people, see people who you interpret as maybe being a bit slower or behind you or not having the knowledge that you have, through a different lens, through a kinder, more loving lens. With the Hanged Man here, this is a reminder, like, I'm getting the sense that you might sometimes see people as almost like, it's funny, because you can see all different sides of and perspectives of things, but you might struggle seeing perspectives that are a little bit, like, almost developmentally behind you, or that you view as, it's like you can see all different kinds of perspectives and things, but for you it's helpful to have others who are on that same level. You might see others who don't communicate on the same level that you do as, like, maybe a little bit stuck in their ways or stagnant, or you have a way of viewing people through a fixed lens. So even though you can see all different perspectives, you also, like, someone else might, to you might view other people as embodying a specific perspective and being incapable of change. This is very interesting. But there is this is like a reminder, it's like a bit of an ego check. Because in some cases it might be true. Like, yeah, you have knowledge that other people don't have, and you may have spent time learning things that other people haven't, and to an extent, there is truth to your, like, I'm getting a little bit of, like, a superiority complex coming through. But that's with this Devil card as well. But I think that, like, it's like I feel like if anyone can handle that kind of message in a reading, it would be you. But there might be some, it's not like defensiveness, it's more like, yes, and like, and I am better than, like, what are you talking about? But because the knowledge that you have and the ability that you have to actually see these different perspectives, and like I think the eloquence that you have in communicating is so valuable in order to share with people who are very different than you. Learning to bring more love and gentleness to your perspective and words will also bring you some knowledge and perspective that you might have been missing because you don't see everything, right? So there's like humility. Humility is the word that is being encouraged for this group. Humility and willingness to learn from those who you perceive to be less intelligent than you. And instead of asking the question, why don't they know what I know? Ask the question, what do they know that I don't know? Or better yet, what are they teaching me right now? What in their experience is valuable that I might not have knowledge of that they do? Because there's always something, no matter who you're watching or looking at, you can always find value in something that someone else does, some perspective that they have. And yeah, I get the sense that you may have gotten so used to feeling like you know everything that you've forgotten that you don't, and that there's always, like, there's a curiosity that you're being encouraged to bring to people around you, particularly when you're prepared to just dismiss their perspective or dismiss their knowledge. And with the Three of Wands, I feel like that is... There's a few different things. One, with the Three of Wands, like, a lot of times it's about, like, ships coming in. It's kind of different in this deck, which is why I'm pausing. But I am getting, like, the idea of ships coming up. Like, I'm getting the idea of drawing people to you who seem, maybe, like, for lack of a better word, dumb or not on your level to you. But they're being brought to you because there is a lesson that they're trying to teach you. This is so interesting because it's like, yes, you have things to bring to these people in your life, but they also have things to bring to you. And that's always going to be the case, right? Like, I feel like there's always some mutual learning that happens, but like, it's like similar to group one, in a way, you see the ways that you're gifted, and you see the knowledge that you have to share with other people. And you don't always understand why it's not always received well from others. And it's because sometimes I feel like you are someone who doesn't really know how to temper your words or necessarily talk to a certain... Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that you know how to talk to, but, like, there's a certain, like, level of what you consider to be intelligence that you would prefer... Wow, this is so interesting. That you prefer to mingle with, to mix with. And there are others who wouldn't understand that, but if you were to have more patience and curiosity with their experience, you would learn how to communicate with those people, and you would see that it's not about, like, a hierarchy of intelligence, it's just about a difference in perspective. And again, like, this might be hard for you to recognize because you are generally very good at seeing different perspectives and communicating them. But there are some blind spots that you have. And it's time to get curious about those. And it's really just anyone, any type of person, any group, or any specific person that you find it easy to dismiss out of hand, or perspective that you would find easy to just completely dismiss. That's where your blind spot is. That's what you're missing. And so you'll continue to attract these kinds of people or perspectives or situations to yourself in order to learn more from them, and also in order to bring your knowledge to them as well. And it's through being willing to open your mind to their perspective that you get to bring your gifts to them as well, and you get to mutually benefit from one another. Yeah, and I'm seeing, like, the Three of Wands, like, these two different branches, and the third branch down here, like, you're sheltering some kind of, like, embers of a fire, and, like, in this specific instance, I'm getting, like, two seemingly opposing ideas coming together to protect the same thing. So there's, like, something that you both find valuable, that you can find this common ground on, that your perspective and your abilities will work so nicely with theirs. Interesting. Yes. Yeah, so there was like yeah, it's like, oh, so far people in this group, like, y'all don't need to necessarily be told what your gifts are. And in a lot of these cases, like, sharing your gifts involves also being open to the opposite, to the gifts of others, which is really beautiful, honestly, because you do have a lot to bring to the table, and it's very clear that you're a very smart person. And so this is just kind of like the next level in your learning, because there's always more to learn. You've never learned it all, and I feel like sometimes you get into, like we all do, that mindset of, I know everything. It's a bit of a teenager kind of mindset, right? And then, like, nothing's new, and I know everything, and I figured it all out. And then, something comes along and kind of teaches you otherwise. And that's what whatever group of people or perspective that you've been dismissing or avoiding has for you, I feel. So with that being said, what are some closing messages from my quote cards for group 2? How do we want to close this reading? That makes sense. And then my second pile. What are some closing messages for group 2? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense as well. So we have a guy that'll really listen to you. Listen and care about what you're saying is something rare, from The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. A guy that'll really listen to you, listen and care about what you're saying is something rare. Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like you both are that guy. You don't have to be a guy, literally, but you both are that person who listens and cares about what other people are saying, in the sense that, like, again, like, I do feel like you're someone who has often been very good at seeing and understanding others' perspectives and being friends with different kinds of people. But I also feel like this is a message that you're not done yet, and that also you're being encouraged to be that guy when you even find it difficult to be, because everyone has their limits and everyone has their lines in the sand that they draw, but I feel like you're being encouraged to reassess some of those lines. And that maybe, and to look at where in your life you might not be actually listening and caring about what someone is saying. Where you can bring that skill out that you already do have, in a more profound way, in a scenario, in a place, in a situation with someone who you normally maybe find that more difficult. And then we have this card here with, don't turn away from possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them, from Illusions by Richard Bach. Yeah, like there are some, don't turn away from possible people before you're certain that you don't have anything to learn from them. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's this, you already have that capability, that ability. There's just, like, there's certain blind spots, there's certain areas where you've drawn some lines in the sand, where you maybe have just been operating from a place of a bit of pride and ego of, like, no, I know better, I know everything, or those people, those crazy people can't tell me anything, or that person is just that, they're not on my level. And it's like, but you're missing something, because that's not true. There's something you're missing there. And there's something of value that you're not getting, that you could be getting if you just, like, took a step back for a minute, took a moment, really listened and observed, and opened your mind with curiosity to, well, if I'm taking it for granted that this person here has something to teach me, then what is it? What could that be? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And that's how you open up your gifts that are already here to others who haven't received them yet. That's also how you open the door to share yourself more profoundly, which is wonderful, because it seems like I'm getting the vibe, you're a very interesting person, you have a lot to share, and it's just like there's a new avenue, a new place, a new audience, a new subset of people. I don't know I don't know, that is looking to connect with you. And you it's just about opening yourself up to that, and setting aside some ego and pride, I feel, which is great. Like, you're smart, so I understand where it comes from, but but yeah, it's really interesting. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this message. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would be so interested to hear how this resonated with you. If you are interested in a personal reading, my mom and I do offer personal readings on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. Also, we're both certified consulting hypnotists, so if you're interested in hypnosis, or my mom does human design, you can check out those services on our website, link in the description. And thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you selected this ring, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about your gifts and how you can share them with others. So, we're thinking as if what are you gifted in this life? What are you taking advanced classes in school? And how can you share that knowledge with others? Although it's kind of turned into almost like the opposite, like what do you have to learn? But with the other groups, but we'll see. A little bit. But we'll see. Yeah, without further ado, I'm going to use these cards to find out what you're gifted in. It doesn't have to just be this, by the way. This is just what wants to come through now, but you can be infinitely gifted. If this resonates, it's just what's being highlighted for you at the moment. But yeah, we'll do this, and then we'll get some tarot cards and close with some quote cards. Anyway, let's flip over your cards and find out. Group 3, how's Group 3 gifted? Well, we have number 46 with 8th house, mystery. We have number 23 with Jupiter, abundance. We have number 15, which 15 is which card in the regular tarot? Is that the Tower? Is that 16? Oh, these are different anyway. It doesn't matter. Number 15. And then we have number 13, trust your wisdom. And number 14, take action. 13, 14. All right. 15, 13, 14, 15. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. We've got a 10 here, so that's a 1. We've got a 5, 6, 4, 5, 2 5s. Okay. 4, 5, 6. Interesting. Something about doing things in order. Orderly. But we have the 8th house here with mystery. Okay. So some of you, this is very specific and literal, but some of you are very gifted at gift giving and surprising people with literal gifts. So take that as it resonates. With literal generosity, but people don't see it coming, or don't know, don't realize, don't realize that you were listening to them when they said something, months ago, and then you get them a gift related to that thing, and you're like, wait, you heard that? That kind of thing. Others of you, it's you're gifted with an abundance of something, but it's people don't know, it could be knowledge, it could be literal wealth, it could be certain talents, but people don't know where it comes from. It's you've got hidden depths to you that are always being revealed at interesting times in interesting ways. Some of you also might be gifted at photography, because we've got this photographer here, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're a model, maybe you're a gifted model, a gifted muse, and I feel you're very good at what you do, at doing things. This is interesting. It's a bit more straightforward and specific than some of the other groups in the things that are coming through. I'm getting almost some different, disparate specifics as opposed to overarching themes like the other groups had. You also might be good at seeing the big picture and taking action from that place of understanding the big picture, knowing the best thing that needs to be done, knowing the most efficient thing that needs to be done, and doing it. This is really interesting, group 3. It's kind of like, like, I'm getting, you also might be quite humble. And I almost feel like that's why your gifts might be a bit of a mystery to other people, because you might be very gifted at, like, hiding your own, and maybe you don't do it deliberately, but, like, you might be just very humble, and so it doesn't come across, you're not very showy. Like, we got some big egos in the other two groups, and I feel like in this group it's not quite the same vibe. If anything, you might have an ego in the opposite direction. There's a lot of, like, potentially, like, not seeing your worth, not seeing your value or abundance. Maybe your own abundance, your own value is a mystery to you. I also get the sense that some of you might be really good at solving problems, solving mysteries, like, expanding. You have a very expansive view of things, a very expansive view, and maybe this comes very naturally to you, so you might not see it this way. You might just see it as, like, your normal, natural perspective on things, but your normal, natural perspective on things tends to align with a very expansive view of, like, reality, of possibility, of the world. Like, I'm getting the difference between, like, someone who has a very narrow worldview in terms of, like, oh, well, like, I grew up in, like, these people always married these people, and it was always this way, and this is the way it should be, versus someone who's just like, oh, well, naturally, like, anyone can be anyone and do anything, and, I wouldn't even think twice about it, about, like, someone marrying a different person or whatever, like, that not having it in you to even think that there would be a problem with certain things that other people grew up believing were an issue, like that kind of thing, right? You have, like, a naturally expansive world view. Perhaps as well a quite expansive knowledge of some of the, like, greater mysteries of the world, or, like, I'm getting someone who is very open to the mysteries of the universe, very open to the possibilities of what's actually out there, who also, like, has a lot of self-trust. Like, you have your own set of values and your own wisdom that you trust, that you trust, and that you operate from. And you're very good at aligning your actions with your values. Interesting, group 3. It's kind of harder to pinpoint you because there's so many, like, different, seemingly disparate specific things coming through, but I do get the sense of someone who's, like, it's like you have a very simple view of yourself and the world and, like, life existence, but to other people looking from the outside in, they're like, how did you come to believe this? How did you come to be this person? But it's kind of just, like, who you naturally are, and so you don't really question it so much. All right, so how can you share your gifts with other people in a way that's most for the highest good of yourself and for others? How can you most effectively share your gifts with other people? King of Swords. Being direct, being honest. Queen of Wands. Confidence. Nine of Cups. Satisfaction. Interesting. I'm getting, like, specific words coming through with each card. Like, very straightforward. This feels like a very straightforward group, which is really interesting because I don't think that you come across as very straightforward to a lot of people. Four of Wands reversed. Is this upright or reversed? Inner harmony, inner stability. And we have the Hanged Man and Ace of Cups. Is this upright or reversed? Upright, okay. Actually, let's move these over. Bottom of the deck. Knight of Coins. I'm not going to leave that out, but I'm going to say that Knight of Coins feels like you would be a Knight of Coins type person. Someone who's slow-paced, hardworking, persistent, will keep at it, might be very consistent in terms of how you think and act. But again, like, it's interesting. It's like you're like a non-traditional traditionalist. Uh, like things that seem self-evident to you are not self-evident to other people. So how you share your gifts with other people is like King of Swords, Queen of Wands, is that you confidently speak your truth. You speak honestly and openly about your perspective. Like, I feel like maybe for some of you, you're less inclined to do this because you might not. I was getting like maybe a potential lack of confidence or self-value in this group where you might not you might just you take your own perspective as not as gospel. I mean, I guess, but as like a given, as like, oh, it's obvious, right? Like, everyone thinks this way, so there's no reason why I have to say this, because what would be the point? But it's like, no, actually, if you were to open up about your worldview, it would really surprise a lot of people. It would really shock a lot of people, maybe. It would also really, like, you being so matter of fact about who you are and how you think would also make a lot of other people think, because people might project a lot of things onto you that aren't necessarily true about how you think and what you believe because you don't say it. And so, yeah, for you, how you share these gifts with people is like King of Swords and Queen of Wands, like kings and queens in this deck. Like, those are people who have a certain level of self-value because they are kings and queens. And there's the King of Swords does not get up in his head about, like, am I valuable or not? Like, he knows what he has to say is of value. He knows his own mind. He's very clear. And it's not about, like, he doesn't think about his own worthiness. He just accepts it. And the Queen of Wands, she's I mean, look at this, like, she's spitting fire, literally. Like, I feel like you might not know the impact of your words because you don't use them as much, but if you were to open your mouth, people would be like, oh damn, like, this person's got things to say, like, they've got a point, you know? Like, you could make a really big impact just by, like, just speaking your mind. And with the Nine of Cups and the Four of Wands reversed, those feel like they go together for me, because it's kind of like Nine of Cups is very much like your personal emotional satisfaction and happiness. And the Four of Wands can be like about celebration. It can be like a weddings card, but reversed, I'm getting like a sense of inner harmony, inner peace. Some of you might have a way of maintaining your inner peace that would be valuable for other people to know about. So if you were to, like, just be honest about, like, your experience in life and just speak on it more, other people would gain just, like, a lot of knowledge just by listening to you talk about, like, how you think and how you feel and how you think about things and rationalize things, and how, if you have any, like, practices to maintain your peace and happiness, like how you go about that, how you think. But I also feel like this could be a message for you as well about valuing and maintaining your own inner peace and harmony. With the Ace of Cups here next to this, like, I'm getting like a sweet little, like, a sweet innocent energy, like a sweet little baby bird. And there's an extent to which, and it's right under the owl here as well. So, like, birds could be really significant for you in particular, but I'm getting this, like, innocence, this like it might seem like it's very opposite of this King of Swords, Queen of Wands, but I'm getting very matter of fact, just like it's not I'm not getting a forceful energy from this King of Swords, Queen of Wands, rather just the confidence to just say what's on your mind, and the realization that while you might feel like you're coming across as maybe, like, bold and forceful by just saying what's on your mind, how you're really coming across as this sweet little baby bird, because the things that you're saying are actually incredibly sweet and innocent and make people consider their own perspective and wonder, can I come across with that kindness, or how do I want to think and feel about life? You know what I mean? And it might help people also see, not only see like a different side of you and the gentler side of you, because I feel like, again, like you might come across as quite a mystery to other people, but it's just because you might not always be honest about like who you are and how you think and feel. And I feel like your honesty in this case will soften up people's image that they have of you. Some of you, this might come as a surprise because you might not have any clue how other people view you, or you might have a very distorted view of how other people view you. But I feel like you might come across with a very intimidating energy because of the fact that you aren't as like likely to share yourself. And it's not that you have to, but I feel like, again, you have a lot of value to share that you don't value because you don't see it. You see yourself as just like, well, this is just, but that's just, I'm just a normal I'm just me, I'm just a normal person, you know, I'm just whatever, I'm just, isn't everyone right? But it's like, no, like you don't understand, you're quite different in the way that you think, and it's in a way that can be quite valuable, and again, like there's like a sweetness, a kindness that other people, in seeing that, would be, it would cause them to reflect on their own internal life, on their own way of thinking, and it also, I feel like, would be really, like, a lot of people would just really enjoy to see that side of you as well. But I could see, looking at this Ace of Cups, why you might not so readily show it, because, well, I don't feel like you necessarily see yourself in this way. If you may, on a subconscious level, feel quite vulnerable because this little baby bird is very sweet and adorable, but, you know, it can be quite vulnerable as well. And perhaps there's a part of you that is aware of that knows your own vulnerability, knows your own inner sweet little baby bird, and is afraid of like letting that one out and out to be exposed to the scrutiny of other people. But again, I do feel like there's an element to which your perspective could be really like a balm to others that could bring a lot of peace to others. Bring some like restore people's faith in humanity, that kind of thing. Because where you're coming from is such a revelation to them. Or it's a revelation to hear someone else say it. To hear someone else. And that's the thing, is like, I feel like because these things are so evident to you, like other people might believe the same things that you do and think in a similar way. But to them, they're very aware of like how different the perspective is, or how not everyone accepts it. They're very aware maybe of the opposition to it. And they might not feel free to openly express these ideas. They might feel like they're very acutely aware of the vulnerability that they would be expressing. But you, I think you wouldn't be so much. I feel like you would just say things innocently, matter-of-factly, that other people find profound or find really heartening, that they wouldn't have the courage, because they have too much like self-awareness of it, almost, that they wouldn't have the courage to say it, or they would feel like, oh, no one else believes this or feels this way. And then you just saying it so matter-of-factly would make them question their fear, question their hesitation, and also make them feel like, oh, okay, well, there's someone else out here who really feels this way. And it's like, these are things that are just naturally in your heart and on your mind, but you don't have the same awareness, I think, that there's value in your words and in the things that you have to express. But like there is, and there's and like putting that energy out there, like I feel like I was getting this image of a person who's like very quietly generous, who might be a bit mysterious with their who like the idea of someone who can like won't like who will just like give someone a surprise gift or something, and like surprise someone with their thoughtfulness almost, but doesn't understand how unique that is, how different that is, how valuable that is, how much people would appreciate that, and doesn't make a show of it. And it's not that you should, but it's also like there might be also things that you hold back on in terms of like how you speak to people, and how you speak about like your true feelings, and from a place of love, from a place of like genuine care, like how deeply you care about things, and how innocently you care about things. And it's like expressing that more, just being more yourself outwardly. I think people would be really moved by that. I think people would be really moved by your perspective. And it's like, again, like you don't have to force yourself. You don't have to do this like oh, well, I guess, I gotta be a little more like, I gotta brag about my, I'm just so generous and such a good person. It's not that. It's just like valuing more, like when you've got something on your mind, or you've got something you want to say, say it. When you've got something on your heart, say it. And also, like, we do have the King of Swords and Queen of Wands here. So, like, these two, it's different than, like, Pentacles or Cups. They might come across as more blunt or cutting. And so there is a case in which, like, I'm getting this very sweet baby bird energy. There might also be a sense in which you might say things in a way that are potentially blunt or cutting in some cases, and maybe they're just things that need to be said, and you don't have the same perspective on those things that you say that might come across as hurtful at times, or just like, oh, I can't believe they actually said that out loud, right? But you're not saying it from a place of vindictiveness. It's just something that, like, you aren't thinking of it in the same way that other people are. And so there's a sense in which just saying it is okay. But also, I do feel like you're someone who is so unused to expressing certain aspects of your inner life that if you were to say them out loud, you would feel almost like you were like being too much in a way. Like you would feel like this King of Swords or Queen of Wands when you would actually come across as this little baby bird on the Ace of Cups. You know what I mean? Like you feel like, oh, like I'm like especially if you're like a people pleaser who's learning to set boundaries or something like that, right? Like I would get the sense that you're not a people pleaser in an overt way, but more in an introverted way of like letting people walk all over you, or just like not getting upset when people like cross your boundaries and stuff like that, instead of like being clear about your boundaries. And this is giving like someone who's like setting a boundary for the first time and feels like they're like, I would actually prefer if when this happens, like I'm not okay with this, so I'm not going to be a part of this, like, or just saying no to like an invitation or something like that, and feeling like you're like the worst person in the world for like just saying no, but like you said it in like the nicest way possible, or like it's really not that big of a deal, but you feel like such a bad person, and you feel like instead of just being like, oh, like, you know what, I can't make it that day, which is how you actually said it, you feel like you were like, no, I don't want to go to your stupid party, you know? Like, that's, like, what I'm getting. But it's like, no, like, your honesty. And that's the thing, is, like, I was talking about, like, sharing your worldview and your perspective, and yes. But it's also just the sense of just, like, sharing your honest personal truth, so that you're not so much of a mystery to other people. I feel like that's also something that people will really value, because they want to know, like, when there's people in your life who really want to know when they're crossing your boundaries, who really want to know that they're treating you right, who really want to know how to treat you right, and want to know when they're not. And so sharing this and being honest about it, at first you might feel like, oh, I'm such a horrible person for being honest about my true feelings when I'm upset with someone or upset with something. But I feel like you're the kind of person who's going to do it in the nicest way possible. You're going to do your best. And if you have a bit of an emotional outburst, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're allowed to have feelings and you're allowed to express them. And I feel like you're being encouraged to do so, and be a little bit less don't censor yourself as much. Yeah. And know that this will actually bring you a lot more inner peace and harmony to do so. And that you will come across as much gentler than you think you will. But it might just take some time for you to find that good balance in communicating. But ultimately, I feel like it will be impactful for other people to hear you speak your truth and hear you speak what you need from them, and also how you think and how you feel. Because you also might be, again, like, you might be, the truth of you might be more like you're like this little baby bird, and you have a lot more sensitivity in you than you let on. And other people just don't see that and know that. But knowing that and understanding that and you communicating that honestly will do wonders for also, I feel like, your relationships with the people in your life. Yeah, there's like hidden depths to you that you're being encouraged to make a bit less hidden, you know? And understand that people do want to know your truth. Even if it's not always, the most favorable truth for them to hear. That being said, group 3, what are some closing messages for you from the quote cards? What are some closing messages? Because I need to drink some water very soon, so I would like to round this out. Group 3. What are your closing messages from the quote cards? Closing message for group 3, please. Yeah, I feel like you've got a lot of hidden talents. A lot of things that you just like feel like if you share too much of yourself, you're like forcing yourself on others, and you're not. People would be really happy to hear from you. And see, also I'm just getting like belatedly, like if you are an artist or a photographer, like to see your work as well would make people very happy. Like they wouldn't feel like you're just like putting yourself out there, like, being too out there. They want to see it. Closing message for group 3. Okay. Ooh. And we have another pile. So any more closing messages for group 3, please? Any more closing messages for group 3, please? Any more closing messages for group 3? It's almost like you, like, being honest with your true and fully vulnerable self will also free up other people to be honest and vulnerable. Wow, that's a lot of cards. We'll take them all, I guess. Here, and here. Okay. Don't tell the other groups you got so many cards. All right. So we have these otters, and this reminding me of the baby raven. So like this again, this like sweetness, softness, cuteness. I feel like a lot of people really find you adorable. We are game playing, fun having creatures. We are the otters of the universe, from Illusions by Richard Bach. This is about like lightening up, especially if you're someone who's prone to taking yourself too seriously to the point where you like censor yourself and you feel like you're being too mean when you're just being honest and things like that. Like, lighten up about that. Be lighter with your feelings and honesty. It's like simultaneously taking yourself seriously enough to value your own feelings and put them out there, but then also taking yourself less seriously to the point where you're like not so concerned about like just speaking the truth, but like ruining someone else's like you're not steamrolling someone else just because you have an honest opinion about like something that they might not like or something like that, or just because you might have been bothered by something that they said. Like you can talk about it, you can be light about it, but you can also be honest about it. We have this card here with maybe things can always get better between people who want to do a good job loving each other. Maybe that's all it takes, from People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Yeah, like again, like if you're someone who's like afraid of speaking the truth because you're afraid of hurting other people, just know like when you're coming at it from the intention of like making things better between you and another person, people will feel that and understand that, and you'll be able to communicate that. And that's okay. Like sometimes you need to be honest with people about like things that made you unhappy to make things better for both of you in a relationship. We have this card which says, "We'll be lucky to know you. We're lucky to know you now," from Ferris by Gail Carson Levine. Yes, oh my god, that's like people in your life. It's like, I feel like this is a lot about people in your life who like want to encourage you to open up and share yourself more, because they know the depths of value that you have, the talents, the kindness, the perspective that you have is valuable. And it's like they know they'll feel lucky to know those parts of you, those deeper parts of you, but they also feel lucky to know you now, right? And it's like encouragement and reassurance that sharing more of yourself will not lessen the love that people have for you. It might increase it in some cases, but I also think that this is letting you know that there's love here now. There will be love as you share yourself more and be more authentic as well. We have this part as well. Such an easy thing to be liked. All you had to do was make sure people didn't know you. From a Gentleman's Position by KJ Charles. Yeah, that makes sense. This is a group that I feel like, again, is very mysterious and might mask yourself. You might be masking yourself. This could be, I'm getting like, neurodivergence as well. Like masking that people talk about when it comes to like autism, or sometimes I think they talk about it in terms of ADHD, but in general, like masking, the idea of wearing a mask in certain situations and not letting your full self shine out. And for some of you, you might even do it subconsciously at this point, but again, there's like that innocent, sweet little baby bird that you're hiding or protecting, but a lot of people really want to know that little baby bird. And, of course, not every situation has been safe for you to share your full self. And maybe you habitually learned that from childhood. And yeah, kids can be really mean, but I do feel like you're in a situation now, or there's people in your life now who are safe, who will be safe for you. And you also, I do feel like you have the wherewithal and knowledge now to know the difference. And then we have genuine love, which I feel like is what you are hiding. A lot of you are hiding your genuine love, and also maybe misconstruing like your own needs and speaking your own needs as not being loving, when it's like part of loving people is also being honest about what you need from them at times, or how you need to be treated, or how you really feel about certain things, even if they didn't intend to hurt your feelings, right? Can you be honest about your sensitivity about how something made you feel? And we have genuine love comes from knowledge, not from a sense of duty or guilt, from Alan Watts. Yeah, again, like knowledge, genuine love comes from knowledge, not from a sense of duty or guilt. There's something about knowledge, people sharing knowledge of you, or sharing the knowledge that you have, or opening up to deeper knowledge of others as well. I feel like some of you mask out of a sense, or hide yourself out of a sense of duty or guilt for who you are, or a sense of, oh, I need to pretend to be this kind of person, or this is who this other person needs me to be. But no, you're being asked to step into your genuine self and allow people to love you for who you really are, and love yourself for who you really are. That's what I'm getting for this group. Your gift is who you really are. And how you can share that is literally just by, by sharing it. By being blunter and more honest, and learning how to value your own sense of happiness and satisfaction, and learning that how you see yourself and how other people see you isn't always a one-to-one match. So you might as well put yourself out there, because you'll probably be surprised by the response that you get. Okay, group 3. That's all we got for you today. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Very interesting, very different personalities and energies and messages for each group today, and that doesn't always happen, especially in 3 group readings, I noticed. So it's very interesting. Very fun reading for you. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. And if you're interested in personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. Link is in the description. And we also offer hypnosis and human design services as well if you are interested. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!